Well, polls show a majority of Democratic voters are looking for a winner more than anything else. In other words, they're flocking to whichever candidate they think has the best chance of beating President Trump, even if they disagree with that candidate on policy. And new UNF polling shows if the general election was held today, the candidate with the best chance of beating Trump in Florida is Michael Bloomberg. But at the same time, if the general election was also held today, a lot of people would be really confused because it's usually held in November. Polls can turn on a dime. Just ask paper tigers through history like Michael Dukakis, who was walloping Bush 41 in the polls, or Rick Perry until he bombed in the debates.
I would do away with the education, commerce, and let's see, I can't. The third one I can't, sorry. Oops.
That's how Democrats who are deserting Biden and jumping on the Bloomberg bandwagon could be making a big mistake, as Senator Warren bluntly put it this week.
Democrats take a huge risk if we just substitute one arrogant billionaire for another.
In short, the polls showing theoretical matchups 9 months down the road mean nothing when numbers can flip just 9 days down the road. And we're also living in abnormal times when we don't even know if normal assumptions will hold up. For example, is the Democrat most likely to beat Trump the one who may do the best job of winning over swing voters because that's how you typically win? Or is the Democrat most likely to beat Trump the one who can best fire up and motivate the far left base to vote, because we may be living in an age in which there really are no swing voters left to persuade? Truth is, nobody knows because we don't know what the turnout mix will be. Also, we cannot trust the polls anyway. They can and have been wrong for two big reasons. Well, the first reason, it's getting much harder to poll people who vote. Landline phones, of course, are going away, and people who still have them are not a good cross-section of voters. And people with cell phones seldom pick up for callers they don't know unless they opt into receiving calls from pollsters, which means they, too, are not a good cross-section of voters.
Well, that's no longer a random digit call. That is a hyper-political individual, and that tends to be someone who skews younger, a little bit more Democrat because it's a little more highly educated because they're following politics all the time, and it's skewing the numbers.
Second problem, by law, when pollsters call cell phones, they can't do robocalls. A real person has to conduct the call, and a lot of people don't like telling real people who they really like.
There's a big gap between people who say they're going to vote for Donald Trump and the people who end up voting for Donald Trump.
Why?
I think it's social stigma. They're afraid to tell people because they feel like that folks don't like Trump, or they view him as being too rough, or he's being called a racist, or for whatever reason that one might think the moniker that's placed on Trump. They're not very comfortable telling a live interviewer how they feel about him. And that's how so many pollsters missed 2016. There was a big gap between what people would tell you and what they did.
Bottom line, do not rely on the polls, especially those looking 9 months down the road, especially now, because these are abnormal times in which normal assumptions may or may not apply.